Hey everyone, I'm Rahi Patel, your Curiosity correspondent. I'm here on Mars and I just watched the Perseverance rover land somewhere over there. And it was awesome. We've received thousands of questions from all of you about MOXIE, one of the experiments on that rover. And we asked an MIT researcher to answer a few of them for you. His name is Dr. John McClean, and he worked directly with Dr. Jeff Hoffman on the development of MOXIE.
Hi Nord Anglia students, my name is John McClean. I'm a researcher working here at MIT on the NASA Mars 2020 Perseverance rover mission. I want to thank you all. I want to thank everyone who took the time to submit a question. And I'm sorry that I don't have time to answer all of them, because judging by the ones that I'm answering today, the questions are really great.
Emily from the British International School Shanghai Puxi is asking, how did you come up with MOXIE?
Emily, thank you very much for that question. And that really goes back to how MOXIE got started. So one of the long-term goals of NASA and other space exploration missions is to actually put people on Mars. And if you want to do that, you have to, of course, bring them back to Earth. And that takes a lot of rocket fuel. On Earth, our atmosphere, it's mainly nitrogen, oxygen, and so on. On Mars, it's carbon dioxide. MOXIE is about using the atmosphere on Mars to make some of the ingredients that we need for the rocket fuel to bring people back.
Daniela from the British International School of Houston asks, what will MOXIE do with the oxygen once it has collected it?
Another fantastic question. Thank you, Daniela. Right now, MOXIE is going to measure how much oxygen that it's making. We expect to measure about 6 grams per hour. It's about enough to keep a small dog alive. So it's a relatively small amount. But even though it's a small amount, it demonstrates that we can actually do it. And that is really important. It's one thing making it in the lab on Earth. It's a whole different thing to actually make it on Mars.
Charlie from Nord Anglia International School Dubai is asking, how do you know that you've actually made oxygen?
Well, that is the big question, Charlie. How will we know that we've actually made oxygen? MOXIE uses electricity, and when you use electricity, you normally look at electrical current. And it turns out for MOXIE, electrical current, which is simply the flow of electricity, directly relates to how much oxygen is being produced. And so if we see that we have electrical current flowing through MOXIE, we know we are producing oxygen.
How can you prevent MOXIE from breaking, and how would you fix it if it broke?
Well, Charlie, I'm also on the outskirts of Boston here. Thank you for your question. We've got a huge amount of sensors on MOXIE that will tell us everything about temperatures, pressures, currents, and we can use those signals to diagnose the problem. So it's kind of like being a doctor to MOXIE. We're going to look at the vital signs and say, in order to fix this problem, here are several procedures that we can try to repair MOXIE or fix MOXIE.
Che Wan from the International School of Moscow asks, if mission MOXIE's success, which was plan A, doesn't happen, what is your plan B?
Thanks for your question, Chewan. You do touch on something that comes with exploration missions, and that is that there is no guarantee of success. MOXIE is all about demonstrating that we can make oxygen from Mars's atmosphere. And one of the projects I'm working on here at MIT is we have a twin of MOXIE. A twin of MOXIE in the lab. So if plan A doesn't work out, we do have a plan B, and that is to run MOXIE's twin, which we are going to be doing in parallel anyway, to demonstrate the same things that we were going to be demonstrating on Mars.
Camilla from Colegio Menor San Borondon asks, how do you know if when you're filtering Mars's atmosphere, you won't extract important matter, or possibly a new life form?
Camilla, wow, what a question. Life on Mars is, of course, an unanswered question. So although MOXIE is not specifically focused on these interesting pieces of evidence for life or other biological things, by far the rest of the mission, the rest of the rover, is going to be up to that task. Mars 2020 is really looking for signs of ancient life. That is one of the main scientific goals of this mission, and it's a huge question. It's a very inspiring question. I can't think of very many bigger questions. So Mars 2020 has got a huge range of instruments that are going to be looking at the rocks, looking at the atmosphere, including the dust that you mentioned in your question, for signs of things that indicate that there may have been ancient, not currently existing, but ancient life on Mars.
Charlotte from the British International School of Chicago South Loop is asking, what are the uses for this technology on Earth, if there are any?
Charlotte, thank you very much for your question. MOXIE uses a technology called electrolysis. It basically means splitting things up using electricity. Now, MOXIE is turning carbon dioxide, which makes up most of Mars's atmosphere, into oxygen, which is what we want, and carbon monoxide, which is the byproduct. On Earth, you may be aware of current climate change, in which case we've kind of got too much carbon dioxide. So we'd like to turn that into things which are not carbon dioxide that we can actually use. The exact same technology, this electrolysis technology, is being developed on Earth to do some of that work.
Gia from Oak Ridge International School, Bachupali asks, what did you learn from this experience? What should we as students do to achieve our dreams which are similar to your dreams?
Yeah, thank you for your question. The first thing to say is I have learned a lot. The main thing I've learned, though, is it's really a team sport.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars.
This kind of mission, you just can't do it on your own. You've got to take advantage of people's knowledge, and you've got to contribute your own knowledge, and that's really important. I have colleagues from all over the world contributing to this mission because people realize that this is really the first time that the world is doing this, not just one particular space agency. Secondly, in terms of what should you do, you've got to decide, what do you want to do? What really interests you? And you might see that your classmates, some of them, they've always known they want to be a doctor, or they've always wanted to be a teacher. Well, that's great. But some of you might be thinking, I don't really know. I mean, there's several things that I'd quite like to do. And I just say to you, don't feel that is not okay. Just try things out. Try things out and notice what catches your attention, and notice what perhaps you don't like doing so much, and use that to help guide you to try and get to that point where this is the kind of thing I really want to work on. Because if you've got that type of excitement, and if you've got that type of motivation, I think it's much more likely that you'll be able to enjoy what you do and be better at what you do as well.
Thank you all again for the wonderful questions. Here are some final words from John.
I wanted to add a word of encouragement on your filter projects. We talked earlier in some of the questions about how MOXIE technology might be used on Earth. And filters are everywhere on Earth. They're extremely important. And you might have even seen in the news with the situation of the pandemic of people talking about face masks and face coverings and whether or not they filter out COVID-19. So filters are important not just for Mars dust, but for all of our health here on Earth. And I hope that encourages you and inspires you to continue with the excellent work that you've been doing so far. All the best with your projects.